Hi, I'm here today with a good friend of mine, Makoto, who I get to see very rarely, but when I do, we always have a wonderful experience and conversation. Makoto, can you tell people a little bit about who you are, first of all?
Okay, hi guys. I'm Makoto Ueki from Tokyo, Japan. I am a web accessibility consultant. So I'm attending CSUN conference, and why I'm here with Lucy today.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you.
So this is going to be a little different than most of our talks because what I want to explore today is the differences between Japan from Makoto's perspective and me for the US and Canada on how we treat accessibility of household appliances or in general. Like I think we're not going to even get necessarily to appliances more than what the difference is that happens in Japan versus the US.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. So Makoto,
Yep.
let's start with legislation and rules and legal. Like let's get the bad stuff out of the way and then get to the fun stuff. What kind of laws are in Japan when it comes to accessibility? Are they extensive? Are there few and far between? Tell us about that.
Well, uh, we have some laws, but they are not strictly required, to make things accessible. So, but we have several, no, no, many, a number of national standards, which, which encourage us to do accessible design in different category, different stuff.
Interesting. So it's more standards building there than necessarily legislation. It sounds like what we call here an unfunded or what's the word? Not the word. Now I can't think of the words. An unfunded or an resourced or followed up on legislation, which we know all about that here. We do have a lot of laws here that are, if you do X Y Z, it's not you have to do X Y Z. But I mean, even our own government here sometimes doesn't follow their own laws that they wrote.
But we have laws about buildings and transportations.
Yes.
So if the building has a second floor, third floor, then the building has to implement elevators. Or if the station has more passengers, then the station has elevators and escalators and you know how can I say? It is not automatic, but if you ask station staff, then they will bring uh,
Special equipment.
yeah, like
But yeah.
a lamp,
Okay.
portable lamp. So they will set the lamp uh, between train car and station platform.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
Interesting. That's I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of things happening in Japan that would never happen here because you've got a much older infrastructure. Like some of the stations that have been there, I mean, when did the train system even start in Japan? I mean, it's probably a lot older than some of the ones we have here. And I mean, I think we can see similarities in London as well. I was in London in 2013, and the underground there, I can't imagine how a person in London in a wheelchair would use the underground. It just seemed so inaccessible and not inaccessible in what we would think of here in America, but you know, long flights of stairs and twisty turny corridors and not even a place to put kind of a braille signage, let alone braille signage being there. It's I think, older infrastructure is a lot harder than newer infrastructure, but I
Yeah.
like that, that one example you gave, the lamp between the cars so that a low vision person doesn't fall between the cars is excellent.
Yeah. And, I am doing website accessibility, and there is a national standard for web content accessibility. And the guideline is one of cities guidelines. The cities guidelines are called guideline for older person and persons with disabilities. So the city's guideline covers wider range of stuff like how can I say? For example, shampoo, shampoo bottle,
Yeah,
shampoo and conditioner.
yeah, yeah.
For shampoo bottle, uh, uh, we should have a my English.
No, no, please relax. No, absolutely.
I'm relaxed,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
what can I say? That
It,
if you touch the bottle,
uh-huh.
side of the bottle, then you can feel something.
Oh, excellent. So it has to have a tactile marking.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is that like if it's the same brand, the shampoo must be different than the conditioner?
Only shampoo has to have the tactile
Aha.
marking,
So if you if
so that people who can see can recognize. Okay, which is the shampoo? Okay,
yeah,
oh, this is a shampoo.
that's excellent. So it's used universally for everyone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and while for example, while I'm washing my hairs, I don't see anything, so I look for conditioner bottle
Yeah.
with my eye closing, and okay, here we go. All right. I like accessible design.
I do too, my friend. I do too.
Yeah.
Several years ago here at CSUN, there was one of the manufacturers here in the US
Okay.
was demonstrating their tactile markers on shampoo bottles.
Okay.
And it was so great. It was my favorite exhibit. Like when we went home and I went to a couple of meetings where we talked about what we learned at CSUN, it got my show winner. And I bought that shampoo for the next 2 years
Yeah.
because, before that, my husband always had to scratch the bottle.
Yeah.
He would like make sure that there was a physical marking on the bottle that I could find. And these guys had put it there for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they stopped selling it. The bottles don't have that mark anymore. And it's like, now what do I do?
Okay.
Yeah.
So you know what?
I'll just buy my shampoo from Japan. How about that? You send me a box every couple of months.
I can do that. I can do that.
Yeah.
So the interesting story is that standard
Yeah.
was originally proposed by one company. A company, it's called Kao.
Cowl. Okay.
Kao started do it. Put the tactile marking on the shampoo bottle, and they they made proposals to the industries, so even, including competitors. Hey, let's do this together. Let's do this, and then the industry agrees with it. Then it's going to the national standard at last.
I like that. I like that a lot in that industry comes up with the ways to do it and it becomes adopted. And I like keeping the law out of all these things. It's far too often here in the United States, we have to wait for a law to come into effect or some kind of plebiscite or something to make something happen, like the, you know, accessible street crossings here. That was mandated by the government. It was not something that city, designers or anything decided on to have the curb cuts. And I like the idea that a company would go to its competitors and say, "Let's work together to make the world a better place." That's awesome.
Yeah, while I'm staying in the United States, I'm shooting a bunch of videos. Uh, One of my favorite thing is uh, um, uh, it's yeah, there's a curb cut,
Yeah, yeah.
and then I want to cross the street, then I can press a button,
Oh, yeah. The
and
pedestrian signals. Yeah,
yeah, and it says wait, wait, wait,
yeah.
and then signal turn to blue, then it starts countdown 20, 19, 18, 17, 16. So it's very interesting. In Japan, we have similar stuff, but it is like a bird, birds singing. But in California, it says wait,
Well,
wait.
and let me stop you
Yeah.
because it doesn't everywhere in California. The problem is we don't have a standard.
Okay.
So
Okay.
and every city can do what they want. So for example, we use the exact same hardware in Berkeley that you're talking about that does the wait and the countdown,
Okay.
but in Berkeley they don't turn on those two features. All they do is you press the button and you have to hold the button in and you have to hold it in for 5 seconds. And then when the light changes, it will go, and that's it.
Wow.
But that's Berkeley. If you go to San Francisco,
Okay.
it will say, wait. And then it will say when the light changes, safe to cross, Broadway or whatever street you're on. And it will give you the countdown.
Okay.
If you go to Oakland, it will just say, safe to cross and the name of the street. It's not consistent. And Oakland,
Okay.
Berkeley, and San Francisco, within 20 minutes, you can be in all three cities. And it's impossible to know which one you're in, like which one standard and which way of doing it is going to be happening. Berkeley does not want the weight and all the voices
Okay.
because they don't want to bother the neighbors. The neighbors complained that they made too much noise.
I see.
So they want the button when it's pushed to just change the light for sighted people. But they put in that 5 second hold so that the blind person can turn it on. The problem is most blind people don't know to hold it.
Yeah.
And there's no signage there telling you that. There's no braille. And the other part of it is in some cities, the button is oriented so that it's perpendicular to the crosswalk. So if this is the pole here, the microphone, we're going to use our microphone as the pole, people. And the button is on one side of the microphone.
Okay.
If you stand next to that button, with that button next to you, you're standing in the crosswalk. Other cities don't have that rule and orientation. So the button could be, I'm still standing in the crosswalk and the button could be over here or up here or down there. It's not even a consistent height as to where the button is.
Ah.
I took a picture once several years ago where there was a push button that I literally had to climb up on the base of the thing and stand on my tippy toes to push the button because it was so high over my head. There would be no way a wheelchair user could push that button.
Yeah, yeah.
So what about appliances? I mean, you use very different household appliances than we do in the
Yeah.
United States.
So, when you send me a message
Yeah,
about this,
yeah,
I checked my home stuff.
yeah.
So, recently, uh, first of all, there is no legal obligations for manufacturers, but
Same here. Same
they,
here.
oh, same here?
Same. There's only a couple of rules about if the government is buying them. So, if it's a
Okay.
school that's a government, like a public school, the government, the school is obligated to buy accessible, but the manufacturers don't have to provide that.
Okay. So in Japan, also there is no laws, legal obligations, regulations, but there is a guideline. Japanese manufacturers likes the like term universal design
Yeah.
rather than accessible design or you know. But there is a set of universal design guideline, which developed by the manufacturers organizations, industrial organizations.
Together.
Yep,
Again.
together.
Like wonderful.
Yep. And yeah, we can see, for example, braille on the washing machine, refrigerators, rice cooker. I don't know how to say
Yep.
rice cooker. Okay,
Yep. Rice cooker is
rice cooker.
perfect. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Japanese people eat rice every day, so rice cooker.
95% of the world eats rice every day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Um, so, or when I get a new washing machine,
yeah.
it has a beep sounds. Beep, 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 beep.
So, yeah. Nice little songs.
But
Do the songs mean anything though?
it's I hit the button one by one,
Yeah.
and the each button has a different sounds.
So it is an actual useful sound effect.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a washing machine that plays nice little tunes too. Only when I'm turning it on and off the tune. So if I turn it on, it goes boo doo doo. When I turn it down, it goes doo doo doo.
Okay.
That's it. All the other buttons just go doot 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 doot.
Yeah. So many products has braille on it, and it has sound outputs, and yeah. I stayed at Airbnb condominium
Uh-huh.
last week,
Yeah.
and
Here in the United States?
yeah, in
Okay.
San Diego.
Yeah.
The room has a washing machine, dry machine,
Yeah.
and what I found interesting was that the size of text.
Yeah.
In Japan, the text size is becoming larger and larger
Nice.
because Japan is the most rapidly aging countries.
Yeah.
So the products must be usable and easily understandable for older people. So the text size is, I think, big, large enough. But in San Diego, I found, oh, text size is way too small. What? So I need a reading glass.
And you don't have any vision problems.
Yeah.
It's, the really sad thing for me about that, and this is why I wanted to have this conversation with you, is I bet the company that made that washing machine also sells a washing machine in Japan. And I bet in Japan they put the big letters on it and the braille and the sound output. But here in the United States, they don't.
Okay.
And I think, first of all, that costs them so much more money
Hmm.
because they have to have two different factories that build those things, that build them differently. And why do they even bother making the inaccessible one? It works. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not ugly.
Hmm.
I'm sure in Japan the considerations of, your appliances have to look sexy
Hmm.
are still a thing. So it probably still has that same, you know, we've got to make our appliances look good.
Hmm.
But you've got the braille on them by default. And even the company that makes, does try for accessibility here, they have a braille template that you can buy to put on it.
Oh, okay. Hmm.
But, I did a review of one of these washing machines,
Hmm.
and the company made these braille templates, but nobody knows how to get them. I've had a lot of blind people buy that machine
Uh-huh.
because they saw my video,
Hmm.
and then they call the
Okay.
company and they say, I want one of these braille templates, and the company says we don't make them,
Hmm.
and they don't know about them and they don't know where they are.
I
And when
see.
I talk to the people I worked with at the company, they say, "Oh, we're working on it. We're working on it." Like, how hard can it be to train your customer service people to
Right.
even know that you have a braille template? Or wait a minute, the braille template probably costs 50 cents.
Hmm.
Put it in every box or put it on the machine by default. It's just why? Why would you do that to us?
Yeah. Yeah.
Makoto,
Yep.
I want to thank you very much. And I'd
Hmm.
like to give you a chance. If you had one thing you wanted to let people that are watching this know, what do you think the most important thing for us to get better accessibility in the future would be?
Wow. It's it's big question. Um, how can I say? Um, yeah. So I'm doing website or mobile apps accessibility,
Hmm.
and whenever whenever I give my talk, I do trainings for those who are new to accessibility.
Hmm.
Um, I always say accessible design is not a special thing. I mean, um, people, everybody can have difficulties to see, hear, operate, move, touch. It is not about only about people with disabilities, but also uh, users who are using or who is going to use your products, services. So please make this your common sense.
Thank you.
So
Yeah.
um, if if we talk like okay, this is good for people who are blind, and this is good for people who are deaf, then if they have no disabilities, they will think, okay, that's the right thing to do, but I, it's not my business. Yeah, maybe if I have a time, money,
I'll get to it later.
budget,
Yeah.
I would maybe I will do it later, but for now, I need to do this quick, quick, quick. So yeah, I do understand. Yeah, yeah, that's a good thing, right thing to do. But okay, I got it, I got it. But yeah, yeah, maybe tomorrow, maybe next year. But no, no, that's not the point. And you don't understand it correctly. So for example, me,
Yeah.
I I need a reading glass. to read small text. So text, if your text is much more larger, text is larger, then more people can easily read your text with less stress, with less frustration. So and if I do, you know, I'm using how can I say? Sometimes I I think I am a good husband.
Okay.
So sometimes I help my wife,
Yeah.
like washing dishes. Then it makes some noises, but I want at the same time I wanna watch TV.
Yep.
Uh, and such time, if the TV program has the captions on screen, I can do multitask.
Yeah, exactly. Eh,
Or for example, or a baby.
Yeah.
If I holding a baby and he or she falling asleep, okay, good boy, good girl. But I want to watch TV. In such case, I can't. You know, I need to
You need those captions.
turn off
Yeah.
the sound. So if the TV program has the caption, I can enjoy TV show and holding baby. So or in Japan, there is a, term 一人ランチ.
Okay.
一人 means alone. Lunch is lunch.
Okay.
So businessmen go to a restaurant or
Yeah.
fast food shop,
Yeah.
then alone, then they are watching smartphone
Yeah.
on the left hand, and they have chopsticks in the right hand, and
Yeah.
they are watching smartphone like YouTube or then eating
Yep.
lunch, bento lunch, but people are around them, so
It-
many people are, so they can't turn on the sound. In such case, the YouTube video has captions, then they can enjoy YouTube videos while eating lunch.
Without bothering their neighbor,
Yeah,
too.
right.
Yeah. I love it. I love it.
So accessible design, it will benefit everyone, even if the situation is the situation doesn't last permanently, but temporarily you can you can be in the situation like you have a sort of disability.
The incidental disability
Yeah,
is the
right,
word I've heard
exactly.
it
Yeah,
called.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So, yeah. So, I I always say, don't look at. I'm not sure if this is correct, but please don't look at people, but take a look at the situation or having difficulties,
Yeah.
difficult difficult to see, difficult to hear, listen, difficult to use your hands, fingers. It can happen to anybody. So this is this is the fundamental of the good design.
Yeah. It really is.
So yes, that's my
Yeah.
point. And if people can think about accessibility in that way, then yeah, we will get a more accessible future.
Excellent. Yeah. Thank you. My takeaway from today is too that, sometimes government doesn't have to make the accessibility. When the organizations work together, we can actually also have accessibility. And then it becomes more generalized and more popular.
Right, right.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. And
Thank
it
you.
was wonderful sitting here and talking to you today.
Yeah,
All right, let's go down and enjoy that exhibit hall.
yeah, and I will get more vocabulary next time.
You're doing goes great. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for watching today's episode of Know Before You Buy the Things We Love and Hate. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please be sure to subscribe, click like, and leave me any comments. And join me next time for another episode.